Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I'm going to talk about CSS Tooltip. Means what are the different properties or how to create a tooltip in CSS. And also I will talk on image styling. Okay, so with respect to image styling, we have so many properties. So here you can see that properties is if you want to image rounded, we can use the border radius property. If you want to show image as a thumbnail, yes, you can do that also. If you want to have a responsive image, what is mean by that, I will discuss on that. If you want to bring the image at center, yes, that is also possible. Later on I will talk about transparent image. That is what possible because not because of, okay, by using opacity property. Then how to add text on the image, that will be discussed. Later on we have image filters, as like we can edit the images in a mobile. We can do same things with the help of CSS also. So for that purpose, we have a blur, brightness, contrast, grayscale, she rotate, invert, opacity, saturation, sepia, and drop shadow. These functions are there. And at last, I will discuss image reflection. Means how to create or how to create a replica of image. That will be discussed. Okay, so let's start with the coding. First, I will show you what is a rounded image. Means how to create image with rounded. Okay, for that purpose, what I need to do, I should go here and nothing is there on my page. So I will add one image. Okay, for that purpose, I will use image and I have to mention source image 1.jpg. Okay, I will not add alt. Let image take its original height and width. I will go and refresh. So image is very big. I can restrict the image height and width to the specific height. Okay, so I will say height of 400 pixel and width of, let's say, 600 pixel. Okay, 600 pixel. And let me go back and refresh the image. So here your images looks like this. If you want to make the rounded corner of image, okay, so you can add border radius and it will, I mean, your image will looks like a round image. Okay, and I will say border radius 20%. From all the sides, your image will be rounded by 20%. If you want image in the circle or it should be in a circular shape, for that you have to say border radius is equal to 50% and your image will looks like this. So this is how we can make the image rounded or rounded image. Next is something, if you want to have the image like a thumbnail, then you can reduce this to 100 pixel. Again, this to 100 pixel and you will have a small box of, okay, small image, very small image, right? I don't need this border radius now. And instead of that, what I will do, I will add border here. I will say border 2px solid gray. Okay, not green, I want gray border. Okay, and let me refresh. Your image looks like this. Okay, I have to add some space around it. I will say padding. Padding of 5 pixel or 3 pixel is fine for me, just to show you. And your image is looks like thumbnail. Okay, if you think that border radius thickness is high, we can reduce this to any size. And now image is looking like a thumbnail. So this is how we can show image like a thumbnail or image, we can say that rounded image by using border radius property. Okay, next property is image at a center. If you want to have the image at a center, okay, so for that, what I need to do, I need to take one parent element. I will take div, and inside a div, I have a image. Okay, what I will do, I will say border. Sorry, not border directly, border to the div, and I will add a border of 2px solid again. Okay, and here you can see that in border, or what we can say, that border is added to the div. Now I will increase the size 200 pixel and 300 pixel. I will keep the ratio in this format only, or in this size only. Now I wanted to bring this image at the center. Okay, for that purpose, what I need to do, I need to add two properties, or I will have to say margin auto. Okay, if I say margin auto, nothing will happen. Why? Because image is a inline element. It is not a block level element. You need to convert this into block level element, and you have to say margin block, and your image will be automatically centered. It is automatically centered by vertical only. Okay, by, sorry, not vertical, horizontally it will get centered. Okay, so this way we can bring the image at center of div. Next is, if you want to have an image transparent, yes, we can make the image transparent also, but how to do that? Okay, and to make the image transparent, you need to add opacity, and we have already discussed. If I say opacity 0, okay, you can see that image is there. Yes, here image is here, but it will not be visible, because the meaning of opacity 0 is fully transparent. And if you want to have an image with some transparency, I will say 0.5. Okay, any number between 0 to 1 we can use as a opacity value, and your image will be transparent like this. Now if you want to add the text on image, yes, it is fine, we can add the text on image also. But for that, what I will do, I will say h2, I will add some text. Okay, h2 is maybe bigger, so I will say webcam, and I wanted to show this text on the image only, on this image only. Okay, I will refresh. Here it is taking webcam on new line. Why? Because this h4 is by default block level element, and block level element always start on new line. And here we have image also, right? And we have aligned this image at center. In I will remove the margin auto so that it will be at left side. Okay, now I want this text and image should start from same point. Okay, and if you wanted to do that, you need to say, hey image, and whatever the element has text, both of these elements should be positioned absolute. Okay, and both the element will start from this location. But now whenever we use the position absolute for the child elements, I will have to say position relative to the parent. Okay, and I did say that. Now I can move this h4 inside a div, anywhere inside a div, but my div is taking 100% width. So if I go here and if I say, okay, I would like to remove this also, there will not be any issue, right? And I will say left, or I will say right 0, right 0. Okay. And you can see that image is shifted to right position. Similarly, we can bring the H4 to the anywhere in the div area, because since we have declared position relative to the div, absolute elements will float in the div area only. Okay, and this div do not have height and width. Okay, so what I will do, I will add width to the div as whatever the width the image has. I will say 300 pixel. Okay, and now you will see the effect. It will come and sit here, because positioned absolute positioned elements will never move out of its parent when parent is declared as a position relative. So that purpose we need to use these two property. Otherwise, if you do not declare this property position relative, your elements will float as per the body of HTML page, means from this side to this side. It will not consider the parent size. Okay, since we have declared a right 0, but there is a no space, because width of div is again same as a width of image, so there is no space. That's why you will not feel that image is moving, but image is aligned to the right side as it was shown up earlier, or it was moved, or it was in this location, right side location. Now I wanted to bring this text to the right side. Yes, I can bring for that purpose. Okay, I will say, or I don't need to add a property to this, because I have to move the text on the image. I have to move the text on the image. Okay, what I will say, I will say H4, and I will say left. Since we have declared a position property already, we do not need to declare the position again. We have to say left 0. Okay, and left and right we cannot add together. Okay, so I will say bottom 0, and here you can see that text will be coming. Okay, it is not showing on the image, but let me change this to right also, or it will right 0, so it will be at right side. Okay, and bottom 0 is nothing but, because see, for this div we have not declared a height. That's why yellow border of div is reflecting here, and that is the effect that bottom property is not working. So what I will do, I will add height of 200 pixel as same as a image. Okay, not image, I will say height of 200 pixel to show or to use the bottom property. Okay, and now I am able to use the bottom. I will say bottom 0, and that element will come and sit here at the 0. By default it has some margin and padding. Okay, head elements, all head elements will have some margin by default. That is a default property. Okay, so if you want to trim out that, we can say that margin 0. Okay, and it will be stick to the right bottom. So this is how text can be added, or multiple text we can position using that also. Okay, we can this, and we can add classes to these all elements. Okay, and we can give the different property with different positions based on classes, and accordingly elements will be, this text will be added or It can be centered, it can be left top, it can be left right, sorry, top right, it can be right bottom, or it can be left bottom. Okay, because of padding, you are seeing some space from top side. Okay, that was the reason. Because of padding we have added for the image, but we do not added padding to the div or parent. This is the way we can add text on image. Later on, I will have to talk on next property, that is image filter. Okay, so image filter is just to change the style of image. Okay, and we can use that property with the image also. Image only means for the image element we have to say, or I will say filter here. When I say filter, you can see here many properties are, I mean, many functions are coming, like blur, brightness, contrast, drop shadow, grayscale, hue, invert, opacity, saturation, sepia, and I will say first grayscale. I will say 100% grayscale. Okay, you can see the values here. Grayscale in 100%. Okay, and if I refresh, you will see that image is grayed out. Because of what is it, opacity, you are not able to see that effect properly, and you can see that image is grayed out. Completely image is grayed out. Okay, and yes, if I remove this filter, you can see the image looks like this, and when I use this filter, image will change. Okay. So next thing is we have seen grayscale. If we change the percentage accordingly, it will be change the view of image. Okay, so if you want to add the blur to the image, okay, blur can be added from four sides, but how much pixel it should take? I will say 10 pixel, and you have to look at the image 10 pixel from this side, and it will like blur. Okay, entire image is gone up. It should not happen. Did I say 10% or what? Okay, and I will say 1 pixel. Okay, so 10 pixel, entire image will be blurred, right? And I will say 5. So this is how blur effect we can add to the any of the element, or to the any images. These are the image filters, so we can, or we have to add filters on image element only. As much as you can increase the size, that image blur effect will be that much stronger. Okay, next function is brightness. If you want to change the brightness of image, you can use the filter with brightness, and brightness you have to again use the property, and I will say 250%, or I will say 500%, means I have to increase the brightness 500 times, right? If I say 100%, by default it is whatever the brightness image has will be 100%. And if you want to double the brightness, yes, you can increase the brightness. Okay, yes. So next function with respect to brightness, okay, after that I have a contrast. Okay, contrast I can use contrast. Okay, again contrast 100%. If I say that is a default one, and if I increase the value of contrast. Okay, not that, here only you can see the effect what is happening, and contrast of this image will be changed. This is a miss. As we can edit the image in our mobile phone, we can add the different effects with our mobile phones in to the images. Same thing we can do with the CSS also. Next is hue rotate. We can add in a degree. You have to add the value for the hue rotate in a degree. Okay, so you can we can see the effect of that also. Hue rotate, and I will say 180 degree. Okay, any degree between 0 to 360 we can add, and this is how effect will be. Or if I do not use this filter, you will see original image, and this will add this effect. If you change the degree to 270 degree, okay, color will be different. If you say 0 degree, it will be a original image. Okay, if you say 90 degree, okay, this is how it works. Or it will, what it will do, it will say 120 degree at 120 degree. So every degree will have different effect on the image with this property. What is this property? Hue rotate property. Okay, and if you want to add the invert effect, yes, we can add the invert. So these all are the filter functions. Okay, and I will say invert, and invert value should be in percentage. Invert value should be in percentage. I will say 200%. Okay, not sure how it will show, but this is how it looks. Or if I say invert as 100%, I will refresh. Whether it's not saved or saved, yes. Or invert can be 20%. I'm just trying. Okay, we can change the value randomly. And yes, I will say 50%. So accordingly, it will add effects. Okay, 80%. This is how invert works. Invert filter works. Next filter is opacity. Opacity we have discussed. Okay, we have to say 0 to 1. Opacity should be in 0 to 1. Then saturation we can add. Okay, and sepia or drop shadow, if you want, we can add drop shadow also, sepia also. You can try these four I will show for the drop shadow. Okay, you have to, for saturation you have to, okay, I will discuss that also. Saturation, you have to mention the value between 0 to any integer number. I will say 50. Okay, and this is how it will affect. So less saturation will clear the image. Okay, if I say 1, I think 1 is 100%, or 2 is representing for the 200%. If I add, or if I increase the value by 1, it will add the saturation like this. So 1 is for 100%. Okay. Next property is drop shadow. Okay. It is a very similar to box shadow. We can use the box shadow on image also, but if you want to use the drop shadow, you can use the drop shadow function. You have to say how much it should, shadow should reflect horizontally. Later on, you have to say vertically. Okay, and you have to say what color of shadow. So color of shadow will be, okay, gray. I will say gray. And I will refresh here, and you can see the shadow of image, gray scale shadow. If you want to add the blur effect, yes, you can add. I will say 10 pixel. and that shadow will be green. This is how drop shadow works, very similar to the box shadow property of property for image. Next property I will discuss, or I would like to discuss, is image reflection. We can create a duplicate image also. Okay, but how to create? And for that purpose, we have a box reflect property. Okay, I will keep this as it is. I will say box reflect. Okay, I will say box reflect. Or yes, I think that property is deprecated, so we have to use this WebKit dash box reflect. And first thing you have to mention here is on which side reflection should happen. So if I say right side, okay, you will see the same image on right side. If I say top side, you will not see, because that is out of border. So what I will do to show you that, I will say margin of 300 pixel I will take, so that my image should move. Okay, and okay, image is moving up, but top side is not showing. Okay, no problem. So we can add margin also here. Margin of, what is the height is, oh, okay, I will add 300 pixel margin to image. Okay, image is moving here, and it has not created reflection. Okay, no problem, but it should create. There will not be any, or reflection should happens on this side only. Okay, and yes, nothing will be there, means what I need to do, I need to use another properties to show you top. But if I say bottom here, you can, oh okay, not below is there. Yes, it will be created on below. So this is left, right, top. Okay, we can use for image reflection. Okay, so top is not there, that's why it was not reflecting. Actually, I misplaced the word. It should be above, and it will add image on the image. And now it should say margin. Okay, I will say margin of 100 pixel or 300 pixel. Okay, not that much, 300 pixel. And you can see the image on the top also. But for that, we have to use the value above. So here we can use the 4 value: right, left, below, and above. Okay, for box reflect. But it is not leaving some space between these two images. If you want to add the space, okay, for that we say offset, and you have to give the space, and you have to say how much offset it should take. I will say 20 pixel offset it should take. That much amount of space will be added between these two, means original image and reflection. Here you can see that reflect is actually a reflect, like we can see the our face in mirror, right? And this is the way we can create image reflection. Now I would like to discuss about CSS tooltip. So let's say, what is the tooltip? Tooltip is just used to show an extra information to the user when the user over the mouse on any element. Let's say I have a one div as an element, and inside a div I have a text as a webcam. Okay, and I wanted to show some text on this element. Means when I hover the mouse on webcam, I should see some information. Okay, so in that case we can add the more text here. I will say webcam and some text. I will say, okay, for the demo purpose only, some text. And this is a child element. Span is a child element of div, right? And for webcam we are not taking any of the element, but you can take any of the heading elements. But remember that heading elements are block level elements, so you need to convert that elements into the inline element, then this will works. Otherwise I will add a class here as a tooltip, because we are going to create the tooltip here, and I will add class also here, that tooltip text. So I have these two classes. If I go here and if I refresh the page here, you would be able to see the text. Okay, but I want this text should not be shown directly. So for that purpose, I can use the property or visibility property. So what I will do, I will copy this. I will say dot tooltip text, and I will say visibility hidden. Okay, so when I say visibility hidden, that span element will take the space. If you don't want to take the space by the span element, okay, so you can use the display none also. And if I go here and if I refresh, the text will not be visible. Okay, but if I go ahead and add some text here also, webcam is great learning channel. Okay, so you will see there is a gap between this webcam and is learning, because of that some text is here, and we used hidden property only, I mean the visibility hidden. Instead of that, if I say display as a none, that will also work, but it will not take space. Okay, so this is how it works, or that is the difference between visibility and display none. So now what I will do, I have to say when my mouse is over the webcam, this text should display. So when my mouse is over means when my mouse is over the area of is this div element. Okay, and I will say dot tooltip. Okay, and I will say display here, display block. But this will not works, because you have to say when to display. So in that case, I will say tooltip hover, but what to show, or for what element you have to change the property. So that is our tooltip text. So this is how you need to give the property. First, you have to mention on which element you should over the mouse, and what element should be displayed. Okay, and if I go and refresh the page here, you would be able to see that your text is displayed. Okay, now by default it is taking at downside or below of webcam, because this is what webcam is inside the div, and div is taking 100% width. Okay, and again we have declared a span as a display block. So these two elements are block level elements, causing this is coming on the new line. If you want to show immediately right after webcam, you can change this property to inline, and it will be shown on right side. Okay. Now this is a information. Since this is a information, I will change the property. I will say font size. Okay, I will say font size of 14 pixel. Maybe that is bigger, or it will reduce. It is almost same. I will say 12 pixel. Okay, little bit small. And okay, 100%. Okay, instead of that, I will keep that much. Okay, so now I wanted to add more style to this some text. So what I will do, I will say background color. We can add, yes, background color. I will add black background color, or if you want, you can add any other. And let me pick this orange also. Yes, that is also fine for me. And this is how it works. If you want to add some spacing around the text and its border, so you can use the padding of 5 pixel. Later on, if you want to round the borders corner, then we have a property called border radius. I will use that also, 5 pixel. And let me refresh the page, and here you can see that the tooltip is looks like this. So if you want to give the warning, you can use the yellow color, or as per the color theory, you can use the color as per warning or as per the information. This is what the tooltip. So now if you want to change its position, okay, if you want to change the position, you need to use the position property. We will use the position property for this some text. But what position property we should use? So I will say position as a absolute, so that I can move this to any side of. And when we declare this as a position absolute, it will not take space after the webcam. Means this is like a virtual element. Okay, and we can move anywhere. This will not affect the web page layout. That's why. But whenever we declare position absolute, we must need to declare its parent element as a display, not a display. Okay, position relative. Parent should be for this tooltip text. Tooltip is a parent. That's why I declared this as a position relative and span as a position absolute, so that my span should not go beyond the border of tooltip. Okay, I will add border to see how much area it covers. So 2 pixels solid. Okay, and I will say, or here you can see that it is covering up entire width. I don't want that. Okay, or I will say width of 150 pixel. I can change this width, right? And this is also again a bigger one. I will say 100 pixel. Okay, again this is greater. I will say 80 pixel. So you have to check what width is sufficient for this. And now you can see that this some text is wrapped up. Now for this tooltip, we can add its own width. I will say width. Okay, and width is of 150 pixels, so that it will not get wrapped. Even 100 pixel is sufficient. This is how you can make the tooltip. Now you wanted to change the position. What I will do, I will bring webcam to the middle of page. I will use the margin of 100 pixel. So it will be coming here. Okay. Now I want this some text to the left side. I mean, it should show here before the webcam start. So for that purpose, as we have declared this position absolute, we can use here left and minus 100 pixel or whatever the width it has. Okay, and here you would be able to see the text. Okay, I will say 120 pixel so that it should not get override the webcam point. This is how we can change the position. If you want it to show on bottom side, you will say 40 pixel so that it will come to the middle. Okay, or not 40, I will say left 0, so it should start from the where webcam has started. And now I will bring that to top side, and for the top I want this border is a top 0, but I want this above the border, so I will use the negative 40 pixel. Okay, randomly I'm using the value, but you can use the value as you want. You can, or we can reduce this to 80 pixel also, so that it should looks similar. Okay, let's say 60 pixel. Whatever the width you will found suitable, you can use that. Okay, this is how it works. If I you wants to show this to the bottom, I will say bottom of minus 40 pixel, and it will go down. So by using this position property, these two position relative to the parent and position absolute to the tooltip text, we can move the tooltip text anywhere around the our text. Right? And this is how tooltip is created in CSS.